What's up? What is up? What is up? Welcome back to another weekly episode of Nerdology podcast, bringing you the best of nerd culture. What a great show we have for you tonight. So, of course, you know it's your boy Chris. Of course, with my wonderful co-host, our founder of IMS Productions, Jai. You know him from Hey Jai, and Jai, we've been off for a week, but we're back. I was doing a little traveling, but in the meantime, how's things been going?
Things are going good. Things are going good on the IMS Studios YouTube channel. We have our mock draft. So it's the NFL draft weekend. So we did our mock draft, big collaboration. We had Chris from Nerdology. We had Tremor from the NIT podcast, Duff from the NIT podcast. And of course, it was a JTS After Dark special. So Justin was there. I was there. It was a lot of fun for all my sports heads. We're going to compare. We're going to do a follow-up episode. The JCS After Dark crew is going to compare the mock draft to the real draft. Of course, they didn't do any trades. So, a lot different. I think we did good positionally.
Yeah.
But I think just the names kind of threw everything off, the names of the teams. But the positions of the teams, I think we pretty much nailed.
I think we need to, it was crazy, the draft and how it all played out in the first round. I think some things were more along with what we expected it to be, but then there's some things that definitely caught a lot of people by surprise. So that was going to be a great episode to do as a follow-up, but definitely go check out the mock if you haven't seen it, just to kind of compare for yourself if you want to. It's a great episode, actually. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff to both the CL Smooth Gaming channel and the IMS Productions channel as well. If you also go check out my boy GTS After Dark as well, if you're a sports head. So, man, like a lot of things been going on in these last couple of weeks. We actually got a lot of news in both like the gaming world. A couple release dates got released. Mafia Old Country.
Yes, super excited. Super excited for that. I am a big Mafia fan. It's like GTA, but it's GTA but more condensed.
I think it has a better like linear story than GTA. GTA takes you around a lot of different adventures. And
GTA is more
open world.
Fun. Yeah. But Mafia is, if you're looking for a story, a playthrough, Mafia is it. I used to like the old Mafia games because it used to be so funny because you couldn't speed. Because there's like, if you speed past a certain point, the cops will come get you for speeding, and like you could be doing that like in the middle of a mission, in the middle of killing somebody. It was dope. You really feel like you were in a mob. The last story, Mafia 3, a little redundant in terms of the type of missions, but it was a nice spin on the story. I was actually in New Orleans, so that was cool. Us being Louisianians, I'm seeing that, and the guy was black. So extra cool.
His character was Lincoln's character was interesting because of obviously it was a different take on the protagonist that we were used to in a Mafia protagonist. But out of all the three, how do you rank the protagonists? You have Tommy, you have Vito, and then you have Lincoln.
Vito for sure. Vito's number one for me.
Me too. Same.
Vito's number one for me. Lincoln because of bias, and then Tommy.
Yeah, but I'd say for me it's Vito, Tommy, then Lincoln. But if you're talking about just like Vito was like witty, he had the smarts, he had the savvy. Tommy was just an old school cagey type guy. But for me, Lincoln was the strongest of the characters, like brute force, just got shit done. But that's how I ranked them. But Lincoln's
game made me like him a little bit more. Just because it's such a modern spin on a great game. And Vito is my favorite movie is Godfather 2. So Vito is like, I love all that Italian shit. I love The Sopranos. I love Casino, Goodfellas.
Right.
All that. So Vito is just spot on.
Right. Ghost of Yotei drops October 2nd, so we're going to get that a little later. And obviously there's multiple games in between these two. These are the two I'm most excited for coming up in this year, outside of GTA 6, of course.
Right.
So, this is another one that's obviously it's a Ghost of Tsushima sequel. Actually, is it actually a prequel?
It's a sequel because it's like the time period for Ghost of Tsushima was so different. It's like hundreds of years, I believe, in it. So, but it's still in somewhat feudal Japan.
Right.
It's dope. It's completely. It's in the same universe. It's a sequel. It's in the same universe. But I think they said they're going to be loosely connected, but not too
Right.
heavy. So,
last of our headlines before we jump into the bulk of our show is this might, I don't know if you played Oblivion, if you had like a PC or if you had an Xbox way back in the day. Elder Scrolls Oblivion. I actually have not played it myself. Although I have a buddy of mine who played it way back in the day. If you didn't have a PC or an Xbox, you pretty much couldn't play it.
yeah.
But now they've remade it, and now it's out for PS5. Along with PC, I think Xbox players still also get it as well. So the remake or not, I shouldn't say remake, I should say remaster. I guess the remastered version. It looks great. I'm hearing good things about it, and it's a lot of friends are telling me that I should go check it out. So it's one of those like action. It's one of those RPG adventures games. Think Skyrim a lot.
The Elder Scrolls kind of series like that's what separated like the real gamers back when before PCs became like cool to get. That's how you knew that somebody was like, oh, you game for real. Like,
right. I was told to check it out, and just looking at the graphics alone, it looks good. And I'm into that kind of stuff. I just haven't played this particular one, but so I think I'll check it out. It's actually $50 on the store, so relatively not bad. So those are our big headlines. There's a couple other things that happened around the gaming world. We'll get to those later, maybe in a later show, or if we have time in this show, we might just discuss it. But I know that this is something that you really wanted to discuss. Your boy Ryan Coogler has done it again. Killed it. Sinners. It's a horror movie, but I looked at it more as this thrilling, a psychological thriller. Lots of great, in my opinion, from watching the movie, there was a lot of moments that you had to really pay attention to, really catch to understand. There was a lot of moments that was deeply rooted in history, especially within African Americans here in the United States, African history, spirituality. There's a lot of different themes that the movie hits on, and Ryan Coogler does a great job at juggling and managing all these themes together. And I think Michael B. Jordan also did a phenomenal job. And it's also not easy playing two characters, mind you.
Two characters that feel different
characters. That feel very different.
This was, in my opinion, Michael B. Jordan acting job. If you know me, you know I've been very critical of Michael B. Jordan. I always thought of him as more movie star than actor. I would say Will Smith kind of held that until he did Pursuit of Happiness. So I think this was not his Pursuit of Happiness, but I think this is a good step in the right direction of like, he really busted his acting chops in this. Shout out to our good friend Jaquan Henderson.
Yes, sir.
Car thief, Jaquan Henderson. He's the one that got shot, my boy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But no, man, this was a Ryan Coogler is one of the greatest directors. He's on his way to being one of the greatest directors of our time, because I think what he did not only was this such a refreshing take on vampires, and honestly just the horror genre, because you wouldn't think you were in a horror movie until probably like the last 30-40 minutes.
Right.
Like, if we're just being honest, it just seemed like it was just sitting like a cool story between brothers and a cousin. You saw like hints of their backstory. See, now I would see a whole different type of movie of just seeing like their journey, going to see the vampire's journey, going to see what Sammy did. Right. Spoiler alert, what Sammy did with the rest of his years. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that it was such like a dope movie, great acting.
Great acting all around.
Great acting. Like I said, refreshing take on vampirism. Man, like it was just fun to watch. You mentioned there's a lot of themes in it. Absolutely. A lot of themes, a lot of symbolism. Ryan Coogler, he's very good at making morally gray.
Yes.
Antagonists, the whole Killmonger debate. In the Creed series, his antagonists weren't really, you were rooting for Creed, but you didn't really hate who he was fighting against, you know. And so like I think this is similar here. Similar in Wakanda Forever. He never makes it just a straightforward good
No.
guy, bad guy type of deal. So Ryan Coogler, man, you get your flowers. And I think what he did, and not to directly compare the two, but you see someone like Jordan Peele. He uses a lot of symbolisms too, and like, you know, the new revamped horror. But I think what Jordan Peele's movies do, they do require some kind of level of deep thought. And I think with this movie, if you thought deep about it, you're gonna enjoy it, especially if you went digging and found the symbolism and stuff like that.
Right.
But I think that if you didn't, you also would, you know, enjoy it.
Talk about the symbolism, because I mean, like we mentioned, Ryan Coogler is a guy who, when you watch his movies, if you know, even down to something like, I would say like Black Panther, in my opinion, no shade to Ryan Coogler, Black Panther was one of his weakest movies in my opinion, only because superhero movies have to have some kind of formula. So there was not a whole lot he could do that's so much different than the typical superhero formula that we normally get. Nonetheless, it was still a great film. So no shade to Ryan Coogler. That is not saying anything bad about Ryan Coogler. Right. It actually says more good about him. If that's his worst, then that's a pretty high bar. But talk about the symbolism of, like, you know, just what is something that's you like in the movie that you have to pay attention to, that you had to get, that was essential to the plot?
I think what was essential to the plot is the just the importance that they put on the music. Like, it's not just like a tidbit, or I would say the reason for the conflict, but what it puts on the music and its relation to religion.
Yeah.
Right. And I would say between that and how Sammy, forget spoilers, but like how Sammy, older Sammy, whenever he spoke to Stack at the bar, and he was like, man, before the sun went down, that's the greatest day of my life. If you pay attention to Sammy's song, it was talking about freedom. Mm-hmm. You know, it was expression. Whenever that triggered the iconic scene of dancing, and you can see that it was the tribal dances from the past and the future modern of music, you know, right. Just how everybody coming together, and that culture transcending time. You know, they said it in the opening act that they had such talented musicians that it would open gateways, you know, call upon the spirits, and, you know, things like that. And I think that a lot of the movie's themes are about freedom. Even the vampires, they weren't your typical. That's why I said it's a nice spin on vampires. It wasn't saying that, hey, let's just go slaughter the town or go kill people. He turned everybody into a vampire. Right. He wasn't just trying to kill them. He wanted community.
It was an entrapment. It was an entrapment, because once you're a vampire, that's it. You're right. A vampire forever.
But he didn't. But it wasn't just like, you're a vampire, I'm going about my business. He wanted them to be gang.
Right.
Normally, whenever we see vampire movies, we'll have the handful of clutch, and then they'll just want to go on a slaughter fest. This wasn't that. This was getting some kind of community there. And he said that, you know, the being a vampire, that's how you truly become free, because you have power, you live forever, you know, things like that. The main antagonist was an Irishman, right? And Irish, they suffered hands at similar to the racial persecution around that time, you know. And he was saying, he was like, hey man, like, we got ran out of our country, and then whenever we got here, they was treating us bad too. They tried to enforce their beliefs and stuff on us too, same what they did with the Africans. You know, so I think that was just, it was a big theme of freedom. And I think a lot of that is paid through in music. Music is such a freedom of expression, while at the same time being very cultural, but it's something that brings people together. It's something that attracts people together. What the main vampire, he sensed Sammy's gift, you know, through that. And so, man, those are just some of the symbols in it. And I think, like, it was just so dope to watch. It was something that was just a good movie. Yeah. You know, I see a lot of people say that, oh, we got to get spinoffs, we got to get sequels to it. And I would not be mad at that at all. But I'm also very cool with it being just a standalone,
it's just its own thing, you know.
Which Ryan Coogler said that he was like, man, I'm tired of doing. He said, I want to take a break from doing series for a bit, because he just did the Black Panther series. You know, you had Black Panther, then Wakanda Forever, then you had the Creed trilogy. So I think that this just kind of speaks to his genius. It's still being talked about. And man, just the acting performances itself, I want to say all the actors did a great job.
I wanted to touch on that too, because another thing that I noticed about Ryan Coogler's films is that his stories, which is exactly what you're supposed to do when it comes to writing a story, writing a movie, writing anything that deals with some kind of a narrative, is that his stories are extremely character driven. The characters make up the plot. That is how you make the best stories, right? So when I had a college professor way back in the day tell me that the most essential thing, the most important thing to any story is your character. So, I look at Smoke, I look at Stack, I look at Sammy, I look at Mary, I look at I'm drawing a blank on the black chick that Sammy had a crush on. Yeah, right. All these characters.
No, I'm sorry.
No. Pearl. Yeah, Pearl. Pearl. All the characters had not only just stake in the game, but also had some kind of complexity to them that they had that brought new challenges to the conflict, to the story, and it blended so well. It was such a cohesion of diversity of characters and diversity of backstory that it was one of Ryan Coogler. I think Ryan Coogler's best work. I think the person who did the best job out of the whole film is Haley Steinfeld with Mary. Her performance was top tier for me.
It was, I would say, that I don't know, man. I might have to. I say Sammy. Sammy is number one for me because this is his first. This is his first major role.
Really?
Haley Steinfeld is up there. I say Sammy is number one. I'd say what is it? Dale, the old blues singer.
Dude, I love that dude as an actor. What's his name? Hold on.
I've seen that dude. I'm drawing a blank right now.
No, I've seen that dude in so many movies, and he's awesome. Hold on, I'm looking at his name.
He played the role that I don't want to say like mental, but he played that elder statesman role so well. And like, if you're from the South, an old dude just like that just don't
Delroy Lindo.
Delroy Lindo. They don't
dude,
care
that guy's
about
awesome.
Don't care about nothing but the party, but got the wisdom and went through, that line where he said, they've been chasing me for a long time, so he got to come meet with his old pal before he get to you or any of y'all. And I was like, man, like that's just like, if you're from the South, you got an uncle or something that's like that. It's like spitting wisdom, but you like, man, shut your drunk ass up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I actually thought, this is interesting. I actually thought that the two characters that were supposed to provide, I guess, the wisdom of the movie was him first and foremost, and then Anne. I think Anne brought that spirituality aspect to it because obviously her roots with African spirituality, which I thought was like, her character was another one that I really, really thought was super strong, given that she was just this like connecting force for a lot of the characters, especially for Smoke. So,
I do want to say that Michael B. Jordan is probably tied for my number two because the conflict between Smoke and Stack. I think him playing Stack was easy for him to do because that was just a little bit more charming Michael B. Jordan.
The slick, smooth talker.
Yeah.
The funny one-liner.
But I think for Smoke, which I like his portrayal of Smoke above the other two because you really saw like the depths of emotion. Like at first it was just like he's the hard ass brother, but everything that he did was to protect his brother. And one of the more powerful scenes was at the end, after he just killed the KKK and he tried to roll his own cigarette and he was shaking, he couldn't do it. And at first I was just like, oh yeah, it's because he got shot. But then I remember all throughout the movie, every time he got a cigarette, Stack handed
it to him,
and he couldn't roll his own cigarettes.
Yep.
So his brother had to do it for him, and that was like
key.
That was so powerful.
that was key Ryan Coogler symbolism of showing. That was Ryan Coogler's way of, without putting it in dialogue, with a creative way, without him explicitly saying it. I miss my brother. I need my brother. My brother was a part of me in so many different ways, and that was just a subtle way, and that Ryan Coogler was able to like display that message without explicitly saying it. And those are the kind of things
after everything that we just saw in the scene before, where he used all that military tactics. He was the most stern and precise character in the whole show. He said, right, you got to pay this. We got to get this straight. We have to do this by this. He wasn't trying to slick talk smooth. He was so rigid and disciplined the whole show. He just killed off like 20 dudes with straight precision by himself.
Now, would you
he had to roll a cigarette. He was so emotional that he couldn't even
roll a cigarette.
It's crazy.
Let me ask you this though, but like, one of the things I thought was Stack's downfall towards the early parts of the film was the fact that I thought he lacked a little discipline. He lacked a little bit of calculation whenever it came to certain things. And I get it that him and Mary had history, but I think that was part of the big reason why he chose to, like, part of the reason why I thought in the film that I think they explained this, that he left Mary, was that he wanted to protect her in some kind of way. And I might have missed more backstory on that.
Well, I think that's what I got from it too.
Yeah.
And I think, part of, I'm gonna draw a parallel for you. So it's one of your favorite shows. It's like Riley and Huey.
Okay.
That's
perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
That's a lot where Stack and Smoke were a lot alike in Riley and Huey. And I think the theme of music, part of that was a symbolism for, Black music. The blues is Black music, and how, with how Black music artists have been treated in their industry, a lot of the times you would jeopardize something that you built, which in this case was the juke joint, right? Something that you built, something full of your culture, full of your people. You tried to go get greedy, or not greedy, but you jeopardized it. You jeopardized it for greed, for money, for entertainment, he said, in worst case, we can go have a good time, right? Yeah. He knew he shouldn't have messed with Mary, but he did it anyway to go have a good time. He's, he got a little greedy, and so he got in bed with people that he shouldn't have gotten in bed with, which in this case was the vampires, which represents, like other cultures coming in and they own Black music. You go sell your soul. Essentially, it's another way of saying selling your soul.
Yeah.
And so I think that it was very interesting, especially with the religious aspect of it, because on face value, you can say that, man, Sammy being the preacher's kid, oh man, yeah, after that night, I'm doing everything my daddy say. I'm in the church 24/7, yada yada. But that's not the vibe that you got, because it wasn't necessarily religion that saved him. And as we saw, whenever he grew up, he still went and did his own thing. And so, I think, like this, I said, like, Ryan Coogler is so great, and this movie was so interesting because it's not linear, it's not straightforward, it's not morally complex. It isn't chicken and broccoli for a movie. It has flavor, palate. It makes you think. And so, like, man, it was just such a dope movie.
Very well-rounded movie. It's one of those movies to where, like, some of your best movies that you ever will see is deep into the symbolism that and like, it brings like this extra layer of thought out of you, to where you're not only just thinking about the movie itself, but you're thinking about key themes within the movie, like you said, music, culture, spirituality, the difference between multiple cultures, the intersectionality of multiple cultures. And those are all the things that this movie really brought out of you and it did it obviously in a great way.
If you're a history buff, and like being from the South, like, bro, like, it was a lot of like Ryan Coogler really did his homework in there. Yeah. The inclusion of the Chinese citizens in there, like, that played a big role in the Delta area in the South. Now, we're in Louisiana, but the movie takes place in Mississippi, and like, that played a big role here. A lot of Chinese immigrants came here to be in those port cities. Right. So, like, that was just like super dope.
Shout out to Louisiana. The film was filmed in Donaldsonville. Partially,
Yes.
part of it was filmed in Donaldsonville. So shout out to Louisiana for getting some love, even though it does take place in Mississippi. Um, it's getting amazing reviews all across the board. IMDb, actually, what does IMDb give it? It has a 8.2 out of 10 on IMDb, a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Fun fact, by the way, Ryan Coogler has never had lower than an 84% on Rotten Tomatoes on any of his movies. He's never had lower.
The only one that probably should have had one was Wakanda Forever. I didn't like that one, but you gotta get that movie grace because it was in COVID time and all that. So,
and maybe it might age well. Actually, I've only seen that movie once. I've only seen Wakanda Forever once. So it might age well. I might have to go back and revisit it. But yeah, dude, like obviously great film. If you had to give it on a scale to 10, what would you give it?
Probably an 8.5 out of 10. And the only reason why it wouldn't be a 9, it was by no means a perfect movie, that's for sure. But I think it would have been a 9, but there were just a couple of too many storylines that were alluded to that we really didn't get any closures. That I would have liked seeing, even if we could have had like a small flashback scene of like Stack and Smoke in Chicago. They alluded too much to them doing stuff or having stories and histories that we just weren't gonna see, right? And while I know Sammy was technically the protagonist, we probably could have seen a little bit more into him too. You know?
Yeah.
A lot of what we got from Sammy had to do with the climax. He expressed it through his song, or at the very end of the movie. So I think we probably could have got a little bit more on him as well.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think that if they were going to go in the direction that some of the fans want of like making more movies, maybe exploring a prequel of Smoke and Stack's time in Chicago and their run with the mob, especially because they made allusions to Capone.
They
did. That's cool, and that would be something that I would love to explore with this series if it becomes a series. Now, like I said, like you said earlier too, I agree with you too. I'm cool with it being a standalone film. It's just that good to where it could just be its own story. I would give it about an 8, 7.5 out of to an 8, which is still really high. I didn't have a whole lot of problems, but to your point, yeah, I think for me, I like Stack, and I know he needed to. His major point of the story was him becoming that vampire, but I was really hoping, I guess, at the beginning of the movie when the movie had just started, and I kind of already was piecing together what the plot was going to be about. I was hoping that Smoke and Stack went through this journey together and came out of it together rather than not,
Yeah.
And that to me, granted, it's still a great story, but that to me, it did like took it down just a tad notch, just because I was like, just fan service for me. I like Stack.
I got you.
But it's still a great film, and yeah, like that'd be something I would love to explore as a prequel, maybe talking about their time in Chicago. So
that'd be cool. If you haven't seen it, touch on like what happened with Mary, or
that too, yeah. And that could be like and Mary, like I said, explore Mary's character more, flush that out more, because she was also very interesting. By the way, Haley Steinfeld, shout out to the Black Queen. Yeah, like that's crazy. I did not know that Haley Steinfeld actually had some black in her in real life. Did not know that until this movie came out. If you haven't seen it, definitely go see it. It's worth a movie. Oh, Jai, we got to move on though. You knew this was coming. It's only a matter of time before this is gonna make it back to Nerdology. But yes, we're going back to GTA 6. We got to talk about GTA 6 again.
Yes.
The developers say that the game is still on track for a fall 2025 release. So no pushbacks, no delays so far. There was a little bit of speculation recently about, will the game get pushed back? Will the game get delayed? We haven't gotten a second trailer yet. We haven't gotten really much more updates. But the developers said, hey, look, we're still on track. Everything is still smooth. We're just ironing out some details, some last minute details, and we're still on track to come out this fall. So what do you think about that? What do you think about that? And like, what would it mean if they had to delay the game?
I would be upset because you've had you had a lot of years to get this done. But I'm not mad at them for wanting to make sure you iron out details, because I would be more upset if it comes out and it needs patchwork. Like
Right.
at the very least, it should work and function properly. Like I'm cool with like, we want to add a DLC or something down the line. I expect that, but at the very least, at the minimum, there should be no bugs, no issues, or anything like that. So
I don't know.
I don't
It's
mind that.
so you remember when we were talking about Assassin's Creed and they had to push Assassin's Creed back. And one of the things that we talked about with them was, okay, well, given that your previous few games kind of wasn't all up there, all up to par, this game has to be a home run. Thankfully it is. But the pressure was on for them. I think GTA 6, given Rockstar's track record, do they have a little bit more of a grace? Like if the game is not extremely polished, do they have more leeway?
I would if this isn't a sequel that's been close to almost 15 years in the making. GTA 5 came out when we were like in what? Yeah, our freshman year of high school, 8th grade maybe. Like we're almost 30. And so like
2013 was a long time ago.
Yes, bro, that was a very long time ago. People were air apostles in Holliston back then. So yeah, no, I'm not giving them that much grace on that, because it was so long. And honestly, even from the trailer, this kind of excites me in the sense of like, okay, you're still making sure that you have X, Y, and Z here. So, I feel like that is going to be that good of a game. I hope they invest a little bit more into the story. GTA 5 did a lot with GTA Online, which was great, and it even kind of had its own story in that aspect. Yes. But I still want them to invest enough into the mainline story as well.
So the mainline story, I think, comes out first before the before online mode. And actually, there was another rumor I saw that this would piss me off, that online would be a separate game that you basically have to pay for. Now it wouldn't be included like how GTA 5 was. That's funny. Yeah, that would be trash. But nonetheless, for me, I think I kind of agree with you on the sense like, yeah, it's been a little too long. This game, they've had a very long time to work on it and flush it out. But at the same time, this is a massive project, right? We're talking about a game that's a massive mega file that's probably going to be one of the most advanced games we've ever seen created to date. I saw something crazy. It was like a $2 billion budget for the game, right? So this is clearly Rockstar's. I mean, this could be safe to say this might be Rockstar's biggest project ever. This is their biggest thing that they've ever had to work on ever. Right. And it's tough. That's a tough assignment to make a game this advanced, this complex, this layered, and this complete. So do I expect Rockstar to pull it off? Yes. My expectations are high for them, given their track record, given the games that they've released, the bangers that they released. We're talking about all the GTAs before this one, Red Dead, Bully, even. Like, Bully is underrated in my opinion in terms of how good Rockstar is. So for me, I get it. I get that maybe this might be that there could be some things that slip because of just how massive of a project this is. But to your point, they've had a very long time to work on it. So delaying it would be extremely disappointing. And having anything that slips through the cracks, things that are not complete about it, or things that have to be added on, patched up, would also be a little bit of a disappointment. It would not be as much of a disappointment as if Assassin's Creed was not complete. I think Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft had more pressure to make sure their game was better, was functional and better and complete than Rockstar does. But I think it's safe to say, I think you could agree with me, a delay is better than a bad game. Always. So,
but I would be a little pissed about it if they do delay.
Of course.
If it's too long of a delay.
Because it's like the whole year is culminating into this. Like, we talked about Mafia Old Country, and I'm excited for that. I really am. We talked about Ghost of Yoti. I'm excited for that. Wolverine, I'm excited for that. There's so many games that are going to be coming out this year that I'm excited for. I'm even excited for some new games that I've never played previously that I want to try this year. Like I want to be like, Elden Ring. I want to try Doom a little bit. These are games that I haven't really traditionally played in my childhood, but they look fun and it's something new that I want to take on. But all that to say, this whole year culminates to GTA 6. The GTA 6 2025 is about GTA 6. That is the main event. It's I made the equivalent to like in boxing, you have the undercards. And yeah, the undercard fights might be awesome. A lot of them are. A lot of them are like really exciting, really dope. But let's be real. We know what the main event is. We all still look forward to the main card, Right. So that's how I look at it. And a delay would be very disappointing for so many fans, including myself, including yourself. And, we need to get a second trailer fast. That has to happen ASAP. We need to get a second trailer about the game. I want to learn more about Lucille. I want to learn more. I forgot the male protagonist, but there's these protagonists. This is the first female protagonist we ever had in the series, and so now let's get some more information about her. Let's see, let's build a connection with her throughout the game, and that's gonna be a major point for them to hit on in the story, is making sure that we can feel some kind of connection to Lucille throughout the story, like kind of how we did with, I don't know if you remember, you played GTA 4, right? You remember Nico, right? So how like Nico was like, you really became Nico.
I was so upset whenever Shorty got mad about the date. I was like, yo, I didn't put on this fresh fit for you and you ain't rock with it. Like, come on, like
that
I wanted my boy Nico to win.
Dude, GTA 4 was such an underrated GTA. I think next episode of Nerdology next week, what we're gonna do is we're going to rank our favorite GTAs. So we're gonna do that next week.
GTA 4 is definitely slept on. It gets overshadowed a lot by San Andreas, and then you go straight to GTA 5. But it was such a gem. Honestly, GTA 4's problem was it being on PS2.
Yeah, I think it came out on PS3 actually. I don't know if it was on PS2, but it was like one of those old. It was an older game. Obviously, they didn't have the same kind of technology that GTA 5 eventually was able to enjoy. However, the story, the twists and turns, the ability to like the role playing aspect of it, you could kind of create your own story. You can make your own decisions. They had a lot of crazy plot twists, like when old girl was when you found out old girl worked for the feds.
That was one of the first games where choice affected the outcome, and I appreciate that they were real innovative in that.
That's something I feel like they could really bring to GTA 6. I actually think of it like this: GTA 5, what GTA 5 did better was GTA 5 made all the characters feel as unique as possible. Because you're playing with three different characters, and so they made it a mission to where all three characters had like their own unique storylines that obviously came together, but you still played their own separate stories, and they all had their own different feel to them. They all had their own different combats and abilities and all that kind of stuff. So you really felt the uniqueness of the characters. What GTA 4 did well was it was just really good narrative, like just the narrative was really good, and it felt like as a player you were in control of the story. You can make your own decisions and kind of craft your own story. So blending those two aspects into one game, GTA 6 could really stand out and be a very strong game within the franchise. And I think for Rockstar's challenge would be to kind of take the bits and pieces. Because I don't know if you remember, like in the early days, what GTA used to be, it was very kind of surface level, a very, very surface level, almost a comedic relief type game. Like San Andreas, as great as we hold San Andreas and as high of a claim we hold San Andreas, the story was basically retreads of old 90s gangster movies.
Oh yeah. It was
so but that was the joke. That was the game,
Boys in the Hood. What's the other one? Menace to Society.
Like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. Yeah. It was like
the characters they were supposed to represent. NWA. You know what I'm saying? So
right. Like you had old boy who looked like Easy. I forgot that dude's name.
Oh, what did it look like? Easy E. You had Big Smoke.
Big Smoke. Yeah.
Night. It was just a West Coast. It was an homage to West Coast gangster shit.
Similarly, you had GTA Vice City, another one that a lot of people hold in high regard. Scarface.
That was the first GTA I ever played. So yeah. But yeah, it was like Scarface. So you wanted to do Scarface stuff. So that's all it was. I would say GTA 5 was so unique and being its own thing.
Right.
And
that
and
and
GTA
GTA
4 also unique, but you also kind of had like it was like a parody of a Jason Statham movie. That's what I consider it.
That's a good one. That's a
It's
good
a
one.
parody. You got the Eastern European foreigner coming to America, getting into some shit. So,
Right.
but GTA 5 was just so different, and I think that with this next one being in Florida with all the viral moments, I think there's so much things that they can lean off of alone that the story is going to be creative. So I'm excited to see. Like, I agree with you. We definitely need another trailer, some concept art, something. We need something to just kind of give us a little bit more insight to it. I hope they don't, because of the success of GTA Online. I hope they don't just bank on that.
Right.
I do enjoy a story to the game. So
I think for me, I would like to see, like, obviously it's going to take some time for the GTA Online, the economy of the game, the player base to kind of, it's going to take some time to everybody get used to it. So that's going to take a while to build. So everybody, for the most part, for the first few weeks, are going to be playing the story a lot. That should be finished by the time the game drops. Like that, you shouldn't have to do anything with that. I think once the game has been out for some months, actually, once the game's been out for some weeks, really, I think probably give it like maybe 2 months, right? That's when I think Rockstar needs to heavily focus more on online play, similar to how they did with GTA 5, like, because that's the thing that's going to sustain players. Like GTA 5 story, once you completed it, you went to the online mode, and then that sustained it for over a decade. And
right.
if GTA 6 is to have that same level of success, online is going to have to be its biggest factor, and they're going to have to continuously give us the updates, give us new heists, give us new challenges. I actually want to see not even just heist, but see, now that we're getting into a new GTA, let's give us some new mission variety. Not everything got to be a complex bank heist. Some things can just be maybe, you're running some illegal stuff.
I mean, they kind of
did
that. They kind of did that a little bit, like, because before you could do the other heist, you had the drug run. I mean, all of it led to a heist, but like whenever you were able to be the CEO or the casino, that was different. Or you had the army, you had the gun runner. You know what I'm saying? I believe you had the biker gang and stuff like that. So all of that kind of leads into a heist. So I'm not mad at the formula. I think they can redo the same formula in that, but I do think that they need to just be a little bit, not necessarily longer, but a little bit more, into it with the I don't want to say offline mode, but I would say just on some single player capability, right? Because if you just want to hop on and enjoy the game, even if you are online with your own character, I think they should have more avenues for you to do that instead of just having to hop into a random lobby and you got some loser running around just blowing you up just for the fun of it.
So that's interesting. Like, what do you think about that? Like, is that a core aspect of GTA Online, or is that something that maybe the developers should mitigate to stop players from doing?
I think that's a core aspect of it. I don't think the whole point of GTA is freedom.
Freedom, yeah.
So I don't think you should do anything to mitigate freedom, but I do think that you should just have options. Like, let's say you want to do a heist, but you don't have any friends, and you don't have any friends, and you don't want to have like a random lobby. You should have an option to have like CPUs, you know what I'm saying? And they might fuck up, but like you can go through the online missions, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think you should just have like an AI option in that aspect rather than just be purely, oh yeah, you gotta enjoy it with a bunch of people, because even though I think the online mode, like you said, there is kind of just their cash cows was sustained for a decade. Between GTA Online and Twitch, like, that's another thing. Can you be a streamer? They should find some way to be able to create a direct to content type of way from the game. But so
I want to see more manipulation into the world. Like, if I'm playing, whether it be story mode or if I'm playing online, I want to be able to, like, they said that you were going to have more buildings that you can walk into, more NPC interactions. NPCs they're gonna have a lot of varied NPC interactions. So like you can, you might not get the same response, or different NPCs might have different temperaments, different emotions.
Florida, I want somebody crazy to run up to me and just try to have like a long dialogue. Like we're in Florida,
Yeah.
like to see something wild, you know.
I think they were gonna like we're gonna have animals in GTA for the first time, I believe. So it's like I want to have more of a feel to the world because the thing about GTA, I think some of its charm is that it's like it's not totally realistic. It's realistic enough to where you can be immersed into the world, but it's like it's part of GTA's charm is that there's some goofy shit that happens all the time.
It's an escapism. It's like
It's
just
escapism, yeah.
it's like Sims. It's like we wanted this to be real enough to the world, but like imagine a world where you're a cajillionaire that can commit pretty much any crime with no real repercussion, and you live in a super penthouse, and like you can drive fast cars, and you can get out your car and then call on your jetpack and your helicopter, and then go parachute at your friend's house, and then blow him up, but he not die. You know, like it's just a whole. It's like, oh, what's your ideal world of foolishness? So I'm here for it. Definitely make the world more interactive and have consequence in the world because of it. You know what I'm saying? Warner Brothers has a patent on this, which is so stupid because they did it for their Shadow of Mordor game. But what they have is called the Vengeance System. And so with that is if you like die or you got caught by like a boss or something like that, whenever you respawn, that leads to some kind of like, all right, they know you, so they'll be on the lookout for you or something like that. Like, and that's the only one aspect of it, but it's kind of like the game is progressively harder every time you fuck up. And it's not like on like a difficulty setting, but it's just kind of like, all right, this person knows your face and you'll be on the lookout for it. So it's kind of like, I don't know, have that with the NPCs. Like, you just like kill 5 people, have them start running away from you or something like that. Be like, nah, this dude crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Just have a little something like that.
Something interesting that you say. So I remember when you said when you called the game, it's like Taylor Swift, right? Like,
yes,
yeah. So interesting that I read an article that a lot of some competing developers are considering delaying the drop of their game because it's originally supposed to be around the time GTA 6 is supposed to come out, which I think is like late October-ish. When they were looking at it, I think they're trying to target that like that Black Friday Christmas range, you know, make sure they have the game well out ahead of time before those big holidays. And a lot of developers for other competing games are like, should we delay, you know, like
wait till the summer?
Should we wait, or should we make our game come out early? It's an interesting,
because you lose it. You need to go wait till the spring. Wait till the spring or summer developers, because eventually some people are as good as GTA is. Some people are gonna fall off on it just from, you know, playing the same game. Some people are like real gamers like that, so just wait till the summer. Those first few months, if GTA comes out around like October, November, is gonna be hell. Yeah, because everybody that's gonna get it around that time is gonna play the hell out of it. All the content creators are gonna make mad videos about it, so everybody's gonna just be watching videos about it. If you don't have the game, the kids that are waiting to get the game on Christmas and stuff like that, they're gonna get it then. And then whenever they get it, you have to do like another 3-4 months. Just wait till the summer when it's a gaming drought and people don't know what to do. It's gonna find that little sweet spot before they want to drop a DLC. So
look, man, this is poof.
If you're not one of the big sports games, it's almost a Call of Duty. It's almost no point in dropping a game in the fall.
No, because it's like the GTA 6 is going to have just such a profound impact on just gaming culture.
Exactly.
It's been, you know, obviously the GTA franchise already has cachet when it comes to games and gaming. And then you tell us that this is one of the most highly anticipated games that Rockstar's ever produced. Certainly one of the most highly anticipated games, period. You know, so, you know, here we are looking at it months out potentially, and it's just going to have such a profound impact on just the gaming world, gaming culture, and the entire pretty much gaming landscape. So yeah, I would consider probably delay. If you have a game coming out around then, I'd probably consider delaying it too. Moving on. This was an interesting topic. I also read this in an article this week. So we've been talking a lot about Invincible. We've been talking about Superman's coming up this summer. James Gunn's Superman. We've also been talking about, obviously, Marvel's been dropping stuff. The Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, all that stuff's coming out. right?
I've heard good things about the Thunderbolts. I still got to see for myself because, as you know, like I just think it's a filler movie. But I've heard really good things about the Thunderbolts. I did spoil myself on the post-credit scene already, but it's a filler movie. But
just because it's a filler movie, don't mean like I'm gonna give it a chance.
I've heard people say that it's good, it's refreshing.
Yeah. As long as, like I said, it needs to be entertaining more so than just
because like I don't need, honestly, I would rather it just be a filler movie with these characters. I don't need Bucky and I don't even know the other people to be important or too central figures in Marvel moving forward. Marvel's moving forward. I'm down with you. Like, I'm very cool off of that.
Let me pose this question to you. If you had to get dropped into one of the many universes, the comic universes, so we have Invincible, which takes place in Chicago, but that's obviously the world with all the aliens and Viltrumites and all that kind of stuff.
Do we have to be in the same city?
It's really just the world.
Okay.
Like if you're in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, or if you're in Los Angeles, California, or whatever, but you're in the Invincible universe. So a Viltrumite could just pull up on you at any moment. You know, you got the MCU, you got the DCU, and then you have the Boys universe, which takes place in New York City. Right?
I would either be in the Boys or the MCU. Because if I'm in the MCU, I just gotta stay out of New York. All the bad shit happens in New York.
All the bad shit happens in New York.
I just gotta stay out of New York or like Sarkovia. Right.
Definitely Sarkovia.
The DCU, too many world threats. Too many world threats. I'm cool. They had a Kryptonian invasion twice. If you've seen The Flash, I'm cool. Invincible's worlds, I'm cool. Too gory. And the Boys, the reason why I said the Boys is because that's another one you can kind of take out of New York, but it's also a good chance that I might have some Compound V, so that's cool. And if Homelander's the strongest, look, the Homelander, if you compare him to a Viltrumite, you compare him to Superman, you compare him to the Hulk or Thor or whoever you want in Marvel, Homelander is just like slightly stronger than a regular guy. So
he's scary to like regular people, but to anybody else, a Viltrumite or a Kryptonian, he's getting washed.
Like, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not saying I could, but I'd rather take my chances with Homelander than like anybody else that's a threat in the other universes. Like,
so my list from the worst place to live all the way down to I think would be the safest place to live. Definitely the DCU. I'm not living in the DCU. Yeah, like those are apocalyptic events that happened in the DCU. Like you think I could be coming home from work one day and next thing you know, Darkseid is trying to blow up the planet or something or whatever, you know.
And nobody's gonna actually care. And if you're not in Metropolis or Gotham. And even if you are at Gotham, imagine you are at Gotham. That's worse.
Gotham would be bad too, just because Gotham might not have like apocalyptic stuff. But come on, bro, you think I want to? First of all, if you're not getting mugged, you
not getting mugged, you might get mugged by Batman.
Yeah, like I'm not down for the DCU. Invincible is the second shittiest place to live, in my opinion, just below the DCU, just because Earth is constantly being invaded.
Right.
Constantly being invaded. Like, how many times throughout the show do we see another alien species trying to conquer Earth? And then you mean to tell me, you just a regular guy. And then this is about a few months after Omni-Man went crazy. You got Conquest coming out of nowhere. Like, I'm good. I'm chilling.
No, it'd be worse. Like, you just chilling in line somewhere, and then a random Viltrumite is just slamming Invincible through your body, and you explode. Like, bro,
through a train. You're just on the train going home from work.
You going home from work. You got it too with you. Imagine dude, they got fired that day. Like, he's like, man, I gotta go home. I gotta tell my wife. She already mad at me. And they, you just hear like, dude, what the hell is going on? And then, somebody just shoves a face. You got a face running through your face, and you explode.
The Boy, I think, would be the easiest place to live in, just because for me, the Boys, it's like, look, the superheroes, they're all douchebags. They're all assholes. Just don't get in their way. Don't fuck with them. Just
if you can avoid MAGA,
if you can avoid them. You good. You chilling. You know, most of them think that the superheroes are good guys, like the good guys anyway.
Thanks.
So it's like, honestly, the boys, you could probably just chill. If you might get unlucky and maybe, you know, run into the past with a superhero, like how Robin, you know, you might be a Robin, you know, that might happen to you, but that's unlucky. You know what I mean? So I'd say the boys would be the easiest place to live in. Definitely.
And worst come to worst, just go get you some Compound V. They basically sell it. By season 5, they basically just like giving it away.
They were basically selling it, yeah.
Yeah. So just go get some Compound V. You might get a cool power.
Yeah. Or you might be like Huey and all you could do is like disappear while you're naked. That's kind of lame.
Yeah, I don't know why he can't teleport his clothes.
Yeah, that's weird. But
It's convenient, though. Yeah, it's convenient.
Yeah. The DCU is just, that's cooked. I'm not trying to live in the DCU. Yeah. Right before we wrap up the show, this is actually something kind of interesting. The PS6. So obviously it's going to be something we're going to talk about, something we're going to follow. The PS6 was rumored to come out in 2027, 2028, somewhere around there. There's no set date. It's just a rumor. There's also rumors of it possibly coming with a portable version, like a portable console, kind of like how that you have the PlayStation Portal. Obviously the price is unknown. We don't necessarily know how much it would cost right now, but this speaks to something bigger, in my opinion, is that the PS5 didn't really have that whole lot a large or a long lifespan, really.
COVID killed it.
COVID, but they also, like, I think the lack of exclusives, lack of good exclusives,
and that's why I kind of put COVID into that too, because like in terms of things that were supposed to be like, we kind of missed out on a creative renaissance for like the past 3-ish, 4 years. Like it's just starting to happen now with like in forms of like art, content, media, and I would put video games in that category because like that Sun Wukong game was supposed to be out years ago, but it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think part of that was because of COVID. It was hard to do stuff. It was new, I say, to do stuff, and then I think with the sale of the PS5. Too many developers who would want to make an exclusive for it because in terms of volume, it wasn't selling like that because it couldn't. It didn't
that was a big chips. Problem.
And so I think COVID really killed what I thought. So I remember whenever I first hooked mine up, like it felt like a next generation console. I don't feel like that the games have maximized it because as you see, even with like some of the software updates, it's so much that they're doing to it, to the UI and things like that. So I honestly feel like if there is a PlayStation 6 to come out around that time, it'll be a lot like the first version will be a lot like a PS5 Pro or something like that. Like that's what it'll feel like. I do like the aspect of it potentially coming out with a handheld. They're learning from Nintendo.
Yeah.
So I think that would be an indicator of like you said, like more exclusive games. I don't know. I'm kind of good on systems. Like if they do or don't. Like if someone's telling me the PS5 is gonna be like the last system ever, or last system for like the next like 10 years or something like that, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Like because the PS4 had such a good lifespan, you know, had such a long runway. PS4 was like 2011, 2012 to 2020. So, you know, it's a good 8-year span. A lot of exclusives and stuff like that came out with it. So, you know, I'll be fine with it. I think the console itself is innovative enough. I think where we are with graphics, you know, that was always the measure before. So I think where we are graphically and motion wise is the only thing to go from here now is VR.
Yeah, VR obviously is going to be a huge step in because even PlayStation dabbles in VR, obviously. So like VR is going to play a huge. I think the VR is going to play a huge role in PlayStation 6. I think you're going to see a lot of PlayStation 6 VR exclusives come out. You know, I think they're really going to go harder with that. That's just the next step, the next evolution of it all. But yeah, no, I think obviously the chip problem really hurt the PS5 from having more potential. Yeah, they still had some exclusives that came out, but it's like I think back to what the PS2 was, right? Think about all the exclusives that we had for the PS2, like the catalog list of exclusives that we had for the PS2, and even for the extent like the PS3, which was a little weaker.
I think that was more of a gaming thing, though. That was a different gaming environment. you can get by with more exclusives because you didn't have online play.
Yeah.
You didn't have, like a lot of games it's hard to really justify an exclusive now whenever the most popular feature of any game is going to be the ability to play with friends. So you'll want that to be available to as many friends as possible. That's why crossplay is such a big thing in games now, in certain games now. So
I mean, it's it's going to be interesting. I think if you're going to add a handheld potentially, that obviously has to hike up price. So now you're going to talk about, well, what's the affordability? Is it going to be $1,000 console to get everything? So that's going to play a huge factor in it. Is price, affordability, and just
they're going to drive people to PCs.
Well, see, and the thing is that eventually, because I mean, PCs are regarded as pretty expensive. But the whole point of a console is that consoles are more affordable than the PC. So if consoles are just getting more expensive, then at a certain point in time, it's gonna.
And then the consoles are supposed to have the exclusives, but if they keep lacking on exclusives or good exclusives rather, and the price keeps going up, people are just gonna go get a PC where you can play with more people, you can do more with it. The best gaming streamers, most of them use a PC. So
right. I mean, we're gonna see how it comes. Like the thing about it is all about the exclusive. What drives these consoles, what drives what determines how long a console lasts before the next console comes out is the exclusives. So if PS6 comes out, they're gonna have to include some bangers.
Bring us new games, new IPs, new original ideas. Come on, y'all are they have to have some creative people that are into games. Give us some cool stories. I don't care what it's about. We did Treasure Hunters. You can be a pirate story. Somebody do a story about Atlantis. Just random. We can have brand new characters. We don't need necessarily any superhero games again. We don't need TV show games. Just go get something new. Go get something cool. We don't need the Game of Thrones spinoff. We did the fantasy thing. What's next, man? Go. I don't know. Do a farm simulator or something.
I thought like this year we're gonna get Wolverine as an exclusive. We're gonna get Ghost of Yotei as an exclusive. So we have some very strong candidates this year alone for PlayStation exclusives. And even like if you want to continue on with more of your Blue Blood exclusive series, like the God of Wars,
right,
the Uncharted, all those type of things. You want to come back to that. So like
Last of Us,
right?
With the popularity of the show, they should definitely start churning out new content for that.
Yeah, definitely, 1000%. So like the exclusives are going to drive the PS6. I think it doomed the PS5 a little bit, like we said. But obviously, you can't predict something like COVID. So, but yeah, man, 2027, 2028, we're going to be kind of keeping an eye on that. Like, what's the pricing? What's going to be, what are some of the games that are going to be slated for it? And what's some of the new technologies and features that are going to be offered? Like, what's going to be different? What's going to be worth my money to upgrade from my PS5 to my PS6? So that's going to be some, and it's not enough to just say, well, it's the newest console. Like, okay, well, give me something that's different. Give me something that enhances my gaming experience, that takes my gaming experience to the next level, for me to spend the kind of money. I think I get, the handheld, like you said, they're taking a page out of Nintendo's playbook in that. And that's a great idea. Like, I don't see why we haven't been done that, especially for so many gamers who are having to be on the go and having to travel and stuff like that. And look, we're adults. We all have lives. We have like I said, I traveled just last week. It'd be nice to have a handheld. I don't have a Portal, if otherwise I would. So that's something that's an overdue thing for, I think, consoles in general, really. So, interesting. We're gonna wrap up tonight's show. Man, it was a good show. Lots of things going on. We got a lot of things that's gonna be coming up in the next couple of weeks, man. We're gonna be looking at that, talking about, like I said, GTA. We're gonna obviously have a lot more conversations about GTA 6 because
Thunderbolts movie review
is gonna be coming next week. I gotta find time within my schedule to go see that. Probably try to see if I can knock that out and go see that on Monday or Tuesday. That's coming up. And look, as we get closer to Fantastic Four and as we get closer to Superman, I'm thinking we need to, we're gonna expand on that and talk more about that, because those are going to be very big jumping off films for Marvel's
They
next
did
phase.
have another teaser with that. What's confirmed is that Sue Storm will be pregnant in that movie with most likely Franklin Richards. If you know the comics, you know that Franklin Richards is OP. He is the ultimate mutant, which it kind of gives me an insight, and we'll talk about it more in the next episode, but it definitely kind of gives me insight of where they're going with Doomsday and some theories of where it might go. So for all my superhero people, I got y'all. We're gonna fan out. We're gonna put on the tinfoil hats because I think I figured out what storyline they're using for Doomsday.
Like, comment, subscribe. If you want us to talk about something on the show, make sure you drop a comment in the comment section on that. We'll hit it on the next episode if we can. We'll definitely try to get to it. Appreciate all the people who've been watching, to the loyal viewers. You guys know who you are, and we appreciate all of that, all the support and love for the Nerdology. Keep growing with us, obviously. John, before we sign out, we want to tell them what's going on with the with what's coming up in IMS.
IMS Studios, we got NIT Pod. The NIT boys are coming with all types of foolishness. We responded to the Mount Rushmore topic and to some of the Shannon Sharp news. So,
God, dude.
If you expect mature conversations, that's not the podcast for you. But if you do want some mature conversations, check out Hey Jai, also under the IMS Studios. And JTS After Dark is getting deep into the NBA playoffs. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. The IMS Studios YouTube channel. We are growing. We are also on TikTok now. So tune into that.
It's funny. I gotta hop on my boy JTS After Dark's pod to talk about what's going on with my Saints, man. Like, oh my God, dude. We drafted Tyler Shaw, quarterback out of Louisville, over Shador Sanders. That hurt.
Yeah, I drafted a savvy vet, 7-year college player.
It's just filthy and disgusting. So I gotta link up with that boy Justin and see, hey man, you gotta have me on the podcast, man. I gotta vent. I gotta let out some frustration. So man, thanks you guys for watching. We will be back with another episode of Nerdology next Friday, so tune in. But until then,
peace.